Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for being patient and and hanging out early. We had to do the show a little bit earlier. I mean, a little bit later. I'm sorry because you know what? Life gets in the way, and the world doesn't stop for the Xbox Factor podcast. Obviously, in the UK, the time change happened, and as such, we have to adjust people's schedules. But you're here. I'm here, the Welsh gamer, my brother from across the pond, someone that I respect, someone that I really consider a brother. He is the showrunner of the Dragon X podcast. He has an amazing YouTube channel, and I think everyone should sub and follow this dude. Welcome. Wipe the sweat from your brow. I know you were biting nails.
Biting nails. I'm down to stumps. Yeah, basically the missus was running a bit late on her way home from work, so safe to say I was biting nails because I didn't want to be late. I like to think I'm punctual and prepared.
You certainly are, dude. You always are. So listen, don't even sweat it.
No, cheers, man. I appreciate your understanding, and I appreciate you changing the times up for me. Damn Britain changing its time, bloody.
The nerve.
Oh, I know. Who do they think they are?
Who do they think they are? Not passing it from BoomStick.
Oh, I know. They should have been asking permission.
Yeah. Well, listen, we have a special guest. Normally, this is a two-man show, but I am proud and absolutely honored to say that we have Dean from Creating Beyond Limits. Now, Dean and I, and of course the Welsh Gamer, all have a bit of a history because obviously I met Dean on Coffee Casuals and Consoles, one of the first shows that I was a part of. It's always going to be in my memory banks as something special. Mel does run a fantastic channel. I obviously met Dean there, and I also, believe it or not, met the Welsh Gamer who guested on one of the episodes. Dean, listen, you had some real success this year. You passed 1,000 subs. You're now up to somewhere around 12 or 1,300 subs. Your channel is unique. It's not a gaming channel. It's not a movie channel. It's not a baby metal channel, but it's a hybrid. And I think everyone should take the time to give your channel a look because guess what? It's interesting content. Dean, welcome, and I'm glad you can hang out today.
Oh, man, I'm just so happy to be here. Like, since I haven't been on a podcast or anything for a while, like, I've just been hungry for one. I just wanted to talk some gaming news. Right now, with the current setup of things, I won't be doing anything really until, like, probably December, early January, because me and my fiance, we just got a house, so we're going to be moving over in the next few weeks and starting that up. But once all that goes, like, I just have lots of stuff planned for 2019. So I can't wait.
Yeah, listen, I'm always excited to see what you bring to the channel, especially like when you do like the reaction videos to trailers and things. I think it's very interesting, and it's something that a lot of channels are not doing. But you know what? Let's get into the topics. But before I do that, I know my wife, everyone knows as being Mrs. Boomstick. You know, her name is Josette. She's probably listening. She's a shy kind of a gal. She does not do any kind of social media, though she will jump into the chat and say hello. She wanted for me to say that she was happy with the winners from yesterday's $25 gift cards that were doled out by using the hashtag Boom and Salty, or Salty and Boom rather. And I was very happy with that. But today is Mrs. Boomstick's birthday. Now, of course, I won't say her air. I won't say her age over the air because guess what? You guys won't have a host next week because she would probably cut my throat. So, everyone in the chat, I'll just let her know that you said happy birthday. There's been a lot of real cool messages on Twitter, so thank you for that. But you know what? Let's get into the topics. This is an Xbox show, and we have some real serious topics to get into. I think that it's going to get excited because guess what? I got goosebumps and I haven't even read what the topic is. So here, topic 1, Ninja Theory may announce something at Xbox, at the XO18 event that's happening, guess what, folks, in 9 days in Mexico City. And this is where the information comes from. Aaron Greenberg of the Xbox marketing team, and really, if you're an Xbox fan, who doesn't know Aaron Greenberg? He posted something on Twitter that got a lot of the sleuths, including myself, to have our antennas perk up. And this is how this is the statement directly from Aaron Greenberg on his Twitter account. He said, "Great day of meetings with the team here at Ninja Theory. Excited to be working with such a talented and creative team who brings so much unique passion to everything they do." Now, here's the thing. He's a marketing guy, right? He's responsible for getting the blood pumping, the green blood pumping in your veins, for the Xbox fans across the world. The meetings is what makes my antennas perk up, because what meetings? We know that they were purchased by Microsoft. It was announced at E3. But considering Microsoft's recent acquisition of Ninja Theory, we could expect more revelations at the upcoming event. Now, Welsh, I have to go to you because I sent you the we talked privately on the DM about this. We both got very excited. XO18 has the potential to be one of the biggest Xbox events since E3. And even though I know people are saying, cool your jets, Boom, we don't know, so cool your jets. I'm going to fire those jets up, and I'm going to go at breakneck speed and suggest that this event could be possibly better than E3 2018. Now, if I'm wrong, that's fine. But what is your take on the possibility of Ninja Theory not only coming to XO18, but showing something new?
Well, first and foremost, Boom, you took the words right out of my mouth, because in my opinion, I'm a lot like, there's always two halves to this community. You've got one half that keeps their expectations very tight to the chest, and you've got others who blow their expectations out of proportion, and sometimes they get upset in the long run because things don't work out the way they expect. And I'm usually the one that keeps things to a grain of salt sort of thing. But in this instance, mate, I am totally in your corner with this one. I will back you all the way. I genuinely think XO18 has the potential to be on par, if not maybe a little bit better than the E3 showing. And I hand on heart believe that, because the pieces of the puzzle are there. The guys over at Xbox need to just put the puzzle together and show it on the day. With these announcements, and now we got Aaron Greenberg chatting to the guys at Ninja Theory. It's exciting stuff, Boom. It truly is getting me excited, and I do agree with you. I think this could be a really big thing for Xbox with the XO18. With regards to Ninja Theory, though, I will say this: whether we see a new game release this side of Christmas by Ninja Theory remains to be seen. I do, at the very least, though, expect to see an announcement at XO. But I will say this, and I'll leave this as like a food for thought kind of thing. If the rumors and speculation are anywhere near accurate that they're close to being finished, and this game could see a late 2018 release, I would say quite confidently that if they're going to do that, they need to do it close to Christmas or maybe New Year, like day one of 2019, because either one of those times would be an excellent time to drop this new IP. Because, well, if it's close to being finished, mainly because, and I've got this in big letters, it would be right after the hype train of Red Dead 2, and it'd be right before people start getting excited for Crackdown 3, which is February next year. So I think there's a nice window there for a game to drop by Xbox, and this is a big if Ninja Theory are in fact that as close as we have been led to believe finishing this game. But either or, I expect to see an announcement, and XO18 is going to be absolutely dope. I'm with you all the way with that one, Boom.
Yeah, the thing is this: we have to understand that even though it was announced in June, the paperwork and the ink was already dry. Okay, these announcements were held very close to the vest. Not a lot of people knew about it, so apparently they were working on something. It must have been special. It must have been so special that Microsoft was like, listen, we got to get a hold. We need first party devs. They just put out a fantastic game, and I think what they're working on is something special. Now, I don't necessarily think, and this is just me, that we're going to get it in 2019. I don't, and I'm going to tell you why. 2020 is going to be a big year for both the Xbox and the Sony platforms. But more specifically, that's when we're expecting the next Xbox to come out in 2020. And I think that it would literally behoove the Microsoft Corporation to have a stacked list of games waiting to launch with that system. I mean, you think about this for a second. We have the potential in 2020 to have a new Forza game, a possible Fable release. We're going to get the Halo 6 or Halo Infinite, if you want to call it. And then could you imagine getting a Ninja Theory new single player IP on top of that? I mean, it just the possibilities, you know, when you're going to put out a new system coming off the big L that the company took in this generation, you want to start strong, and you want to start strong with first party games. If I were them, I would kind of slide. You know, we know what we're getting in 2019. We may get a surprise or two, right? And that's fine. But 2020 is going to be the pinnacle year for the company. But Dean, I want to get your take on this. XO18 was brought to our attention, and it shocked the world. Obviously, inside Xbox is not really looked upon as a strong marketing, driving force, if you will, when it comes to the Xbox gaming, network, if you will. Most gamers discount it. They don't expect that it's going to be anything big. And the last one surprised us because it had Phil Spencer. And that's a big deal. When you have the head of the Xbox gaming division, the guy that's sitting on the right-hand side of the big chair, that's a big deal. And then he shocked the world with the announcement of XO18. I have been banging this drum since I heard it. I have delusions of grandeur. And I really think that the more information that keeps leaking out, I think that we're going to be in for something really special here. But I want to get your take on it. How special, or more importantly, Dean, how important is XO18 to the Xbox platform?
I think the return of this event is really important, mainly because the last few years, PlayStation has been doing their event, and usually we don't hear anything from Microsoft until E3. It's like, oh, E3, and then they go silent unless they actually show something at Gamescom. We don't really hear anything until E3. And the fact that they're actually going to be pulling out all the stops, like they're going to be going full force with this. It's like the perfect time. PlayStation already announced that they're not going to be doing theirs. So like Xbox can go all in. It's November 10th, isn't it? So if they get enough hype right now before Black Friday, if they show off lots of games and just get people really interested, and it's going to be showing what they're going to be expecting next year, and if they show games for 2020 or whatever like that, that's going to get people jumping on board over the Christmas. Could help sell plenty of Xbox Ones, Xbox One X's. So I think it's great for that. Also, it's just great for us gamers. Like, we've been hungry for some more news because we haven't heard anything since E3. So we want to know more about Crackdown because, they've been talking about the multiplayer for so long now, but we have yet to see it. So you can't really hype up a game. The fact that we haven't seen the multiplayer yet, I still think is kind of crazy, considering the game is out in February. Like, it's only a few months away and we haven't seen anything like that. It's not like it's a game like Red Dead where that game was able to release without actually showing any of its multiplayer because it still had this solid campaign and story that everyone knew Rockstar was going to deliver on. But because of Crackdown has its whole development stuff, we don't know. So we just need to see more of it. But they're giving all the Xbox fans what they want. They probably will announce more studios that they acquired. There has been rumors. Obsidian, for one.
Yes.
Which I hope is true. Because they make great games. They make really good games, and they are a very underrated developer. Fallout New Vegas is a great game. They just make so many good games. Alpha Protocol is my favorite. I actually really love that game. I was trying to think of it there. Like I had it in my head and I just like forgot. But I want Banjo-Kazooie to be announced. Okay,
I think we're gonna get it, dude. Listen, I'm gonna say this. I have heard from several sources, and I don't have many. I have a few. I have a few insiders. Like I like to give him a shout out. D Black Raven, for instance. That guy is aces. He constantly DMs me. We're always talking, and he's just dropping news bomb after news bomb. There are a few others, and I have heard from several sources that the number of new announcements could be as high as 3 acquisitions announced. And that's what I actually heard for E3, and it wound up being a total of 5 with the new, with the announcement of the new studio. I think this is my take on the whole situation. Microsoft we know what happened in 2013, right? Everyone talks about it as being like D-Day for the Xbox, and you know what? I'm happy it happened. It was a revelation for the company. Moves were made. Certain people are no longer with the company that don't deserve the positions, and Phil Spencer is running the show. And since he's taken over, all he's done is bring lots of excitement and joy to the Xbox gamers in the form of different services and promises of improving the hardware and improving the UI, and he's done everything. And the last thing on his list was the games, and he obviously shocked the world during E3 where they announced the acquisition. And we did hear from many sources within the so-called gaming media that not only some acquisitions, but I'm expecting that we're going to start seeing a steady flow of games. Again, I don't know what we're going to get in 2019. I think it might be the same kind of year we had in 2017 and even 2018, but the games are coming. And I'm excited about it. Does anyone want to add anything else to the mix before we move on to the next topic?
I want to add one thing,
please,
and that is, I was getting all hyped up and jumping on the hype train for potential, however slight, for this new title by Ninja Theory to release, like maybe possibly this year. But the reason I just wanted to just elaborate that obviously the reason I'm saying this is because obviously, like between me and you, Chat and Boom, on and off the shows, it has been very much a nod towards the fact that this game, whatever game it is, unannounced obviously, is very close to its end result. And then it gets me thinking, like, obviously Hellblade was a huge success, and that must have helped massively for Xbox's, like, getting the checkbook out when it came to acquiring the studio. But that game was already out, and every developer has a handful of ideas ready to pitch at any time. And there's also rumor that they've been working on an unannounced title for ages, and this was even before Xbox acquired them. So I'm just wondering if there is any like weight, should I say, to like a game getting a surprise announcement for a late 2018 release or a very early 2019 release. I mean, I don't want to get people's hopes up because I'm certainly not getting mine up. But I just wanted to elaborate that I'm not saying to people, hold your hats, it's going to happen. I'm just saying that there's a lot of nods to a potential shock release, and I wouldn't be surprised. Hence why they're bringing back XO. I mean, you said it yourself, and you couldn't have said it better, Boom. The possibilities are literally endless because they did not need to bring XO18 back, but they obviously did for a reason. So I'm just excited to see what the hell we're in for, and I hope to God that if it isn't released this year or late or early next year, like I'm just theorizing, I hope we see a huge announcement for a new game.
Well, I'm what I'm saying as an Xbox fan, we have all taken it on the chin this entire generation, and just until recently now are we starting to see a big swing and not just with with gamers, not just with sales. We know who wins the NPDs. We know that Sony sold 85 million, but you also not to poke fun or to kind of flame fan the flame of the ridiculous console wars. Microsoft just posted a 10 billion with a B surplus that they got. The company earned from the Microsoft platform. You don't see Sony talking about their numbers, and that's telling. That, again, this isn't a flame thing. Everyone knows that I love Sony and I love their marketing and I play their games and I take pictures and I post it on Twitter. So I'm not taking a shot at Sony here. What I'm saying is you have to look at the whole picture. Console sales, Sony wins. End of story. Generation over. Pick up your ball and go home, kid. You lost. I get it. I think everyone gets it by now. But that is just the top of the article. You got to kind of read down into the third and fourth and fifth paragraph and see that even though Sony is constantly boasting about their sales numbers in regards to consoles, and of course their first party games, they're all awesome. As a matter of fact, 3 of them that came out this year are going to be in my personal top 10 of 2018. So that's saying something. So this isn't a fanboy attack. This is me being a gamer, but I'm also a factual host. And you don't see Sony saying, "Hey, world, we got $10 billion surplus. Look at us, we did it." You never hear their sales numbers in regards to monies, and that's a real telling thing.
Yeah. No, the thing is, Boom, like with Sony, they'd actually have to have money to show off before they open them out. Like that, they've been sitting in the red for God knows how many years. I mean, I know they like to every time there's like a knock-on effect or there's a bit of negative news on the Sony front or whatever, they're always quick to come out and say, "Oh, we've sold 80 million consoles and this and the other." And like you said just then, like if you're talking console unit sales and the amount of units sold, like Sony takes the cake. But Sony as a business is like, it's like that really hot girl you meet in a bar. Like she's perfect, man. Like head to toe. From a distance, she looks stunning. You're like, "Oh my God, this is Miss World to look at." Like the analogy I'm using in comparison to this number, 80 million units sold. But this girl's gorgeous, man. You're like, "Oh, do you know what? I need to get a piece of that pie." You walk over to her, you introduce yourself, you give her your card. Then you go out for dinner. She's chewing with her mouth open. She got a lazy eye. She's like farting and spitting her food all over you.
I love it.
It's just like, bottom line, yeah, it looks nice, but once you get behind that initial, number, it's all just a horrible, like it's a joke, really. And that's, again, it's got very little to do with gaming, so this isn't even a slight as a gamer. It's just the facts. Like the reason why Xbox can show the numbers, and bottom line, they're a very strong infrastructure in terms of a company with regards to because they've made their money off the back of hard work. And Sony, I'm not saying they're not good with that kind of stuff. That they've obviously worked hard, but they're falling short in some areas, and that's why they've had to sell off loads of their divisions. And I dread to think what would have happened if the PS4 wasn't a success, because I honestly don't think Sony would be here.
I agree. I agree.
It's quite a scary truth. And I mean, I don't want Sony to fall under, and I don't want the PlayStation to disappear, because it's good competition. It breeds healthy innovation. Frankly, I have Sony and its ponies to thank for the success of the Xbox in the last 4 years, because it's just gone from strength to strength. Been downtrodden by every media outlet, and that's in the wake of Sony's success, and it's fantastic, really. So I have nothing but respect for them as a company, but they are that pretty girl in the bar that dribbles on you and spits on you, I'm telling you.
Well, listen, I don't want that one. I'm going to pass, okay? But you know what? Let's move on to the next topic, and it's a good one. Phil Spencer, the Xbox boss, is obviously proud that Red Dead Redemption 2 runs the best on the Xbox One X, and I'm obviously not seeing a problem with that. I mean, listen, Yoshida, it constantly gets out there and boasts when numbers come out, right? We're just talking about that, and good on him. Good on the Sony brass getting out there and saying, yes, we won, or our exclusive is doing well. We sold 10 million. You know what? That's freaking awesome, and that's what good business people do. But without trying to, again, fan any flames, folks, whatever you're playing Red Dead Redemption 2 on, it looks and runs great. But the reality is this: it runs and looks significantly better on the Xbox One X. That is a proven fact. So Phil Spencer retweeted Digital Foundry's deep technical analysis of the game, which proclaimed it ran best on the beefed up Xbox One X. Spencer tweeted out that Red Dead Redemption 2 looks and plays best on the Xbox One X, which naturally poked the console war bear that was sleeping. And I don't think he meant to do that, because you know what, Phil? He's not that kind of a guy. He's a good dude. You may not like him, but he's as when I tell you he's as genuine and quality as they come. You know, I don't know him. I mean, I'm not going to Phil's house to have a nice steak dinner. I would like to. So if anyone's listening, Phil, I'm waiting for the invite. My DM is open. We could hang, have a beer. I don't drink. Get a Dr. Pepper for me, and we'll be cool. But of course, it didn't end there. In the same, he felt it necessary because of, social media being social media, that he had to do a follow-up tweet. And Phil Spencer did concede that he's proud that the game runs best on the Xbox One X, but what's more important is that you simply just play the game no matter what console you're on. And you know what? That in itself is classy. And this is what he had to say. Of course, I'm a bit biased, but honestly, most important is just play Red Dead Redemption 2, wrote Phil Spencer on the follow-up tweet that I was just referring to. And obviously, the social media being social media, he got a lot of hate for that. And it's almost, I like to use the word double standard. This industry has proven many things, that apparently it's good for Sony, but it's not good for Xbox. And I have to go to the Welsh Gamer on this, because you've talked about this on your program. And I really want to get your take on it. First of all, good on Phil Spence for getting out and saying, hey, folks, it's running best on our console. And what is that saying? That's saying that's a good sales pitch. Go out and buy an Xbox One X. And guess what? A lot of effing people did. The tweets, the pictures, the conversion rates. You know what? With the way that that literally it's running 2-to-1 on the X as opposed to the Pro, it's crazy to say, and it's laughable. You hear it in my voice. I'm laughing. The Xbox could win the MPDs for the first time in what seems like an eternity. Listen, Welsh, what is your take on the two things? One, Phil Spencer tweeting that his box runs it the best, and two, the potential of them actually winning an MPD.
Well, boom. The thing is, right, like this whole console war, like it just never wants to die. 1 minute it was about power, 1 minute it was about teraflops, then it's like true exclusive matter, my list wars, my list is bigger than yours, my dick is bigger than yours, just about everything.
I love it. This is great.
Just about, honest to God, it's just everything. But bottom line, like Phil Spencer as the guy who has led the ship and pretty much, let's be frank, like stopped the ship from sinking back in 2013. To see what he's built from scratch, like what Don Matrick left him was nothing but rubble. He had to build from scratch, right down to the foundations of where Xbox is going moving forward. I just spoke a moment ago about Sony and the PlayStation, and God knows what would have happened if PlayStation didn't succeed. Sony could have gone under. This and this. Do you know what? There's times I think if Phil wasn't the man they chose to take Don Matrick's place, would Xbox even still be here?
Maybe not.
I know. So, I mean, call a spade a spade. The man has every reason to be proud of what he has achieved and what he has accomplished and everything he has done from 2013 to now, listening to the gamer. And the Xbox One X is his baby. Like, that is his baby. And end of the day, you just got to call out hypocrisy as you see it. Like, any pony that has anything negative to say should turn the clock back a few years to the 1080p makes you a better gamer.
Thank you, sir. Well said.
Said by no other than Yoshida himself.
Yes.
You know, at least Phil Spencer, when he was tweeting out that thing, he was referencing an article that wasn't even his.
Right.
He was speaking from a place of pride, a place of respect, a place of excitement.
Yes.
And there wasn't any hatred or spitefulness. Whereas when Yoshida was making those 1080p makes you a better gamer claims, that was sheer spitefulness.
That was sand being kicked in the face. No doubt.
Exactly. All I can say is to Yoshida and the ponies and everyone at Sony, eat that humble pie, because you made this whole generation about power, and it was undoubtedly after the juggernaut that is Xbox and Microsoft woke up from their slumber, was always going to come around and bite you. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not going to play into the ponies' hands, and then in a few years' time, I'm being called the hypocrite. I don't care about power. And this time, next generation, PlayStation 5 could be more powerful than the Xbox 2. We don't know. But my argument is, right here, right now, the Xbox One X is the most powerful console because of what Yoshida, Sony, and also most importantly, the ponies were batting on about for 4 years straight. Now, Red Dead Redemption 2 on the Xbox One X is nothing short of a console gaming milestone. Yeah. You just got to accept it. As God knows, we had to accept it every time a game ran better on the PS4. So that's all I can say, mate. But Phil Spencer has nothing to apologize for.
You know, I'm sorry to laugh on the air because that's not a professional host. But it says here, Axel1324 says in all caps, "Eat that humble hay." So I'm sorry. I thought that was hilarious. And I don't, listen. I think everyone knows that I'm fair. I'm a fair dude. I think it's very apparent that I support all three consoles proudly. And I call people out. I do call companies out when it's necessary. Dean, here's the thing. There are two takeaways here. One, why the F does Phil Spencer need to correct himself, stating actual facts, not poking fun, not kicking sand in anyone's face, but being honest and just retweeting an article that wasn't his, that was put out there by Digital Foundry? And secondly, if it would have been a Sony rep tweeting it, the mass market would have stood up and cheered like this. Hey, good job, Sony, right? Now, I just mentioned it. There's a disgusting double standard here. What's your takeaway on this entire situation?
Well, obviously the whole thing happened because of the console war, fanboys, and especially with the tweet when he said just play it regardless on any system as long as you play the game. That's what's important, because like the developers put so much time of their life like working on this game, and for it to come out as well as it did, as polished as it did, as amazing as it is, it's just important to play it. If you're a gamer, you're gonna want to play this. And obviously Xbox fans will be like, why are you promoting PlayStation? Like, I just never get it. Like, I think the fact that Phil Spencer is a gamer, he doesn't care about... Obviously, he's going to be biased towards the platform that he's supporting and works for. But overall, he knows that, like, gamers play games regardless of the platform, and he's just telling people to play it because that's what's important. Obviously, he'd prefer people to play it on the Xbox One X. But for him to just go retweet something that Digital Foundry did to say that the Xbox One X version is the best, like, there's literally nothing wrong with that, because the people that worked on the Xbox One X, like, they put a lot of time and work into it. Like with the developers, they worked on it. They didn't half-ass the Xbox One X version just because they had the whole promotion deal with Sony. You know, they put time into it too, and it just came out as being the best version on the best hardware that they were able to work on with. And for him to just promote that, there's nothing wrong with it. And I don't, like, the tweet was kind of like him defending himself, you know, by saying just play it regardless. But the fact that people get so sensitive, it's just...
I know, it's ridiculous. It's sad. It's sad.
Like, he can say what he wants, you know. There doesn't always have to be this mob that goes at someone, because I would hate to have something like that and like an audience just like go at you for any tweet just because you kind of came off as a little bit biased or you're promoting the enemy. Ooh.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a business, right? Again, a lot of people forget that it's about the dollars and cents, not about the plastic, not about who looks better on camera, not about who has the best comment. These companies pay their employees not with oats, not with jam. They pay them with monies, and they have to get out there and they have to again look. I mean, again, you got to call a spade a spade. Microsoft, in regards to a game being the best and really just being that marquee title outside of like Forza Horizon 4, which obviously just released to record number sales and review scores. He has to get out there. But you know what? I'm going to segue into something really interesting. And
can I just say one quick thing?
Please, by all means.
This is just the full stop. Creating Beyond Limits, Dean Shelley mentioned something about Phil Spencer and how in the past he's talked about other games on other platforms, promoting them.
Yes.
People seem to forget that.
Yes.
I mean, he raises a very good point. I mean, okay, in this instance, he's praising a game on the Xbox One X, saying how well it runs. But are people honestly going to, call him this biased asshole when quite often, more often than not, he promoted God of War, he promoted Uncharted 4. He put out a tweet pretty much seconds after The Last of Us 2 was announced at E3. Like, he's very, I'd say, considering he's top banana at Xbox, he does quite a lot of marketing for Sony. So
he also does marketing for Nintendo PS, by the way.
So nobody can call this guy biased. I mean, yes, in this instance, he bled green for 10 minutes, but give the guy a break. I mean, he bloody deserves to. That's all I got to add on that. Great point, Dean.
No, a fantastic point. But you know what? I want to segue into something that happened, and it of course involves Twitter, and more specifically, it involves the mainstream media. And if you're unfamiliar with this story, let me just break it down. It appears that even if you are a Sony guy or gal and publicly praise anything that Microsoft has an edge, you are greeted with insults followed by name calling. This happens on a regular basis to many public Xbox supporters, even for me. I've had some really wacky DMs. I've had some people, you drop a video and people leave a comment and I leave them. I don't erase anything. People are entitled to their opinions. I've had some really pretty nasty things said, and I'm not going to, of course, mention who said it or what they said because it's not worth the time. The fan base. Now, when you talk about a specific fan base, right? There are light and dark sides to both. To all three platforms. You have your Xbox players, and you have your Xbots. Like they're just mindless drones that you can't say anything negative. Even when they're wrong, they're jumping down your throat if you're trying to correct them. And that goes for the ponies. You have your Sony players, and then you have your ponies that basically toxify the community, unfortunately. Brian Altano, if you don't know who he is a veteran of IGN. He's a host. He's actually on a Sony show, and he had some trouble in the beginning of the week. And this is actually it's funny because he put a very public opinion out there after seeing Red Dead Redemption 2 running on the Xbox X. And this is what he had to say. I mostly play third-party games on the PlayStation. I've played about 12 hours of Red Dead Redemption on the PlayStation 4 Pro. After seeing it running on the Xbox One X, I'm tempted to scrap my save and start the whole game over on the Xbox. It looks so much better. Like, no contest. And he has a little emoji that, with the chattering teeth, decisions. And very soon after that tweet, he has a smiley face, a picture of the Xbox One X loading the Grand Theft Auto of Red Dead Redemption 2, and he says, "Update, decisions were made." And don't you know that the hate train came out at 175 miles an hour? And some of the comments, I didn't read them all. There were a lot. And to say that salt shakers must have been handed out at the last pony meeting. That it seemed like it was December in the Wild West. I don't even know what to say. You know, that part of the community is one that I truly, truly stay away from. They are very toxic, and at times, they almost seem like they have a mob-like mentality. The old Bugs Bunny cartoon, "Don't Pile on a Rabbit," and all the dogs are jumping on Bugs Bunny, like 50 of them. That's what this seemed like, and this is coming from, again, I'll say this publicly. I used to be a mainstream media dude. I subscribed to every podcast IGN put out. I actually used to pay the $24 a year to keep the lights on. I was one of these people. And I am not a fan of IGN. I've publicly said it. I do respect Pierre Schneider, who's the head honcho there. I've actually talked with him privately. He's a very, very well-spoken, educated man. But a lot of their their media people, I'm not a fan of. And Brian Altano is one of those people that I don't, if I seen him in the street, I wouldn't throw an egg at him, but I wouldn't go looking for his autograph. But that's just my personal opinion. I don't hate him. It's just I'm not a fan. But I had to bring this to the people's attention that listen to this show, because it just goes to show you that it is really just a one-way street. It's great for Sony, and the minute anything comes in the way of that greatness, it's almost like the fangs come out. Welsh, what are your takes on this this turn of events for an IGN veteran who is a PlayStation dude at heart, is on a PlayStation show, and unfortunately that dark side community came out and they looked to cut his throat?
Mate, end of the day, right? I'm like you, Boom. I show no love for IGN. I've been very publicly open about that. But bottom line, IGN, like, they have been fighting the Sony corner for years. Like, you could argue IGN is one of the main reasons that whatever pillars are left are standing over there at Sony.
Yes.
And they've been singing that, beating that drum for years, promoting that shit. Countless articles lifting it up, above and beyond, and sometimes, quite frankly, shitting on Xbox. They have done it time and time again. But for God's sake, like, honestly, is there any honor amongst these bloody I don't know. Honest to God, man, like, you can't, no honor amongst thieves, as they say. Like, these guys are cutthroat. They're heartless. Like, it's like they're indoctrinated in some sort of cultist mentality where we're good as long as you're saying nice things, but the second you say a bad thing, I'm going to stab you in the back. The hypocrisy just never ceases, Boom. I have seen, literally, it's not even just IGN at this point. I know this concerns IGN, but over the years, I have seen countless articles and videos over the years by either IGN, Digital Foundry, Kotaku, you name it, there's plenty. And just about every gaming media outlet that you can think of. And they've praised PlayStation to the hilt because of PlayStation's absolute, 2-to-1, 3-to-1 unit success. And,
I mean, it's 3-to-1 with the Switch. It's really it's a little over 2-to-1. I mean, no one knows with Microsoft, but we're at this point we're thinking 45. Maybe they're in the 45 range. So it's 2-to-1 based on Sony's 85, 87 million consoles sold.
Yeah, and with that said, any businessman, any media outlet who break their bread from clicks at the end of the day would be reporting on this stuff on the weekly, praising up the winner of the competition to get royalties and all these different things back. It's basic business practice. IGN are definitely guilty of this. They definitely had a few cheeky $5 bills shoved into their ass pockets over the years. But bottom line, what I'm getting at is all these outlets have been beating the Sony drum for years. They've been praising PlayStation, and I don't believe I've ever seen a mob-like response by the Xbox fans. When it's been the other way around. My point being, whenever I'm not saying you don't have your sickening fanboys over at Xbox camp. I'm not going to say there isn't, but I don't believe because I'm always on Twitter and I follow plenty of people from Xbox brethren of mine, that people I've met through Xbox community, and then honestly the Sony, Sony fans as well. I've followed loads, and I don't think I have ever seen this kind of response from anyone I know, anyone that I know at least, that are Xbox fans. Every time over the last 4 or 5 years, any one of these outlets have bashed Xbox and praised PlayStation, but one tweet by IGN that praises the Xbox and the ponies go buck wild. It's like a bad joke, Boom. I just don't understand it. Like, this guy Brian Altano, as you mentioned, he is a PlayStation fan first and foremost,
Yes.
but he's obviously a gamer at the end of the day, and he wants to play his game in the best quality. Which I go back to the last topic. I don't see any of the ponies complaining when this guy probably tweeted out 100 times over, retweeting Yoshida's comment, 1080p makes you a better gamer. I'm playing Assassin's Creed Unity in 1080p on my PlayStation 4, yada yada. Fuck you, Xbox guys. Ha ha ha. I bet all the ponies were rallying around him like a bloody fireplace with bloody marshmallows, making s'mores. I just, honestly, it's just such hypocrisy. The fact that this guy has been like literally promoting Sony for years, bigging them up, giving them all their props, which are deserved for the most part. And then the one time he goes, do you know what? Red Dead 2 looks phenomenal on the Xbox One X. I'm thinking of buying one. What do you guys think? And then he's met with nothing but pitchforks and torches and gasoline. Honestly, it just blows my mind, man. Like, these ponies, it's a sickness. I know you've got fanboys on either side of the fence, but
you do.
These ponies, man, like, it's no joke. They are up there with the Manson family.
that's a real deep cut there, brother. I mean,
I know. But I say it with absolute. I say I won't take it back.
No. Listen, that's your opinion, dude. You know something? Some of the things that I've seen said. I mean, I've actually seen death threats because of someone said something negative against a PlayStation game or so. So it is, you're not too far off. But Dean, here's the thing. This is not as shocking. Maybe 5-6 years ago, if I would have read this, I might have been like kind of clutching the pearls, if you will, been like, oh my God, like the fainting, meme that everyone puts with the lady from church, which is hilarious. But you know what? In this climate, in this generation, at this particular time, these kind of attacks, they actually don't surprise me. That's sad. At the end of the day, that's a sad thing. You put something out there, and I mean, if you're being a troll, then you're going to get what you're going to get. But if you're going out there and you're just being a fan, and you're putting out your opinion, and then you're met with a lot of negativity and hate and disrespect, it's not fun. And that's one of the being a media person. Which is, I like to consider the people that do YouTube. We're media folks. We just don't get paid for it like the mainstream media. We're making a couple of bucks on the side, and I mean they really pay shit, but they pay. When they run ads on our channels, and obviously if the community steps up and donates, which is always a great thing, that's where we get a couple little extra slices of toast, if you will. He didn't comment on the hate. I don't think I think he just wanted to play Red Dead Redemption 2, and he did. He said decisions were made. He took a picture of his yellow Xbox One controller, and he's off away playing. He's enjoying himself. He didn't respond. At least I didn't see it. If I missed it, then shame on me. But I didn't see him respond to it. I think that he kind of knew that was going to happen, and he just went with it. Dean, I mean, is this move by the toxic community a shock to you, or is this something that has just come to the realization that we're going to expect it?
Well, I wish I could say it was a shock. Unfortunately, it's just the reality of the internet. You have a different opinion from others, and you're gonna hear about it. And most of the time, it's not nice. I don't know what people do be thinking when they say half of the stuff. Like, I know they're like keyboard warriors. It's like, no consequence. But like, just being a person and saying some of the shit that you're saying, like, it just makes you think about like how many good and bad people there are. Because like some of the things like he's saying with death threats, it's like, wow, why would you go that far over something that doesn't even affect you? It's just crazy. But like, it's not a surprise that this is what's happening. You know, people and their fanboys, and like regardless of what, if it's Xbox side or PlayStation side, there's always the people that take it too far.
Yes.
Like, you can have a preference. I have a preference. Everyone has a preference. Like, there's always going to be something that you prefer a little bit more likely, like because of the certain games that are on either one. But you don't have to go trashing. Like, I like PlayStation. I like their games. I'll never trash them over their games or anything like that, because I do like them. They do good games. But like, if I was to say that, like, if I was to say right now, like, oh yeah, I love PlayStation more, but I'm on an Xbox show, like, that doesn't mean I don't like Xbox, you know?
Right. No, listen, everyone's entitled to their opinion. I think there's a distinct line that is crossed as a person, as a human being,
Yeah,
male,
exactly.
female, anywhere in between. It doesn't matter. As a human being that has a soul, or supposed soul, if you will, when you wish that someone steps in front of a bus because they don't like your platform of choice, you gotta you gotta sit. Yeah, you gotta sit back in that chair and say, you know, the life decisions I made, maybe they just weren't the right ones.
Yeah, it's just like, it's completely insane. Like, in 2018, unfortunately, there's nothing 100% in place that can stop all this negativity. Like, someone just wants to play a game on a different system because it runs better, and they already have it. You already had an X, right? You just needed the game. As far as
No, I actually don't think he had an X, to be honest with you.
well, you have
I
the
mean,
money to get one.
yeah, no, I think that he actually went out and bought one. I mean, if he had one, listen, it wasn't really explained. He didn't say, yeah, well, I'm going to play it on my X, and you know, the way it sounded to me is that he went out and bought one, and a lot of people did. This is something that's been really hitting the media big in the last few days, especially on social media, on Twitter. The pictures that people have been taking,
Yeah,
and they've been crazy. And these are and they admit that they're Sony fans, but they want to play this game. This game is a phenomenon. It is the greatest thing since sliced bread. It is Christmas, Thanksgiving, and New Year's wrapped up into a game. It's all the best holidays in one place. You go and you play, you enjoy the hell out of yourself, and the world's a better place. And right now, as it stands, the Xbox One X is the definitive edition, not
But
just
is it?
slightly better.
You know, I'm playing 1080p, and apparently that's what makes you a better gamer. I haven't heard anything about 4K making you a better gamer, just saying.
Well, no, it has 4K doesn't make you a better gamer. It just makes you a poorer gamer because you're buying bigger TVs and better TVs to keep up with the Joneses. But you know, I want to move on to the next topic, guys. And you know, when you have an Xbox show, and it's not a multi-plat show like I have with Breakfast with Boom, shameless plug, I'm sorry. You have to talk about services every now and again, and some really super cool information dropped late yesterday in the form of backwards compatibility, and it made everyone cheer. So if the last 2.5 weeks have proven anything within gaming, especially being an Xbox gamer, backwards compatibility is not only the biggest, but quite possibly the best feature on the platform. There's no doubt about it. So in those 2.5 weeks, this is what has been announced as backwards compatible. You had the Crisis trilogy. OPS, by the way, it's fucking awesome. So go play it. You had the Orange Box, Portal Still Alive, Left 4 Dead 1 and 2, and now this. They announced yesterday via Major Nelson's official Twitter account that the original Just Cause, Castlevania Lords of Shadow, Castlevania Lords of Shadow 2, and Castlevania Mirror of Fate were now backwards compatible. And I want to talk about it because guess what? I understand they're old games. I understand that we haven't had anything really new for as an Xbox, exclusive other than, Forza Horizon 4 early in the month of last month. But Welsh, first of all, everyone that's not a fan of Xbox shits on this on a regular basis. They're old games. But right now, they're sitting close to 600 titles that you can play if you have the disc. How awesome is this announcement?
mate, it's a feature that people wanted, and I think a lot of people got way more than they bargained for.
Absolutely.
Let's be fair, it's just taking a life of its own now. There's so much choice. I mean, I remember when they announced it, and I was just like, wow, they're actually doing it. I mean, people have been asking for this, but I wasn't expecting it. And when they announced it, I was like, oh man, this is going to be legit. And I remember there was only like maybe 30 announced games at the time. And now what did you say, over 600? It's crazy.
Yeah, well, it's getting closer. It's creeping closer to 600 titles.
But that's just insane, Boom. It's just incredible. I mean, this is the thing, right? I say this to everybody, and this is pretty much what I say to people via social media who hate on backwards compatibility. And by the way, I think 95% of the people, ponies or whatever, who hate on backwards compatibility, I think a lot of that is just buyer's remorse. Where
I agree with that. That's a fine statement right there, sir.
I honestly do think that's the case. I think they would not be saying, if it was the other way round and it was Sony that had backwards compatibility and Xbox that was charging you for an Xbox original mini for $99 with 20 shit games on it. Like, I think at that point, ponies would be like, oh, we got backwards compatibility, haha. But that isn't the case here. And they obviously want backwards compatibility, despite the fact that they claim to hate it. And the people who go out and buy this PlayStation 1 Mini, for the most part, I know there's a few individuals who might not have ever played the PS1 or any of its games and might buy it to try it out, like almost for the first time ever. But the people who have had PlayStations since the dawn of PlayStation, I think they're gonna. I honestly do think it's a case of who's going to be getting exposed to this hypocrisy, because the hate has flown pretty much since the backwards compatibility announcement way back in like 2015 or 2016, and it's a phenomenal feature that frankly every platform should have without charging you any money, and it'll be an interesting few months, because when that PS1 Mini drops, I'm curious to see how many of them get sold, because that is how many hypocrites are on this planet.
Yes, no, that there are a lot. I mean, listen, I get it. I get it that, like for instance, you take a guy like Randall419. I'm a big fan of his work. We're friends. I've had him on my show. If you're not subscribed to him, I highly recommend it. He just surpassed 10,000 subs. So good on Randall Thor. I'm a big fan. Like I said, I'm a big fan of his. I love his work. He currently has like 1,300 games on the Xbox. Like I thought my 800 was impressive, and he makes me look like a Smurf, right? He's like, listen, kid, 800, it's okay. I got 1,300. Now go back home. And I take my ball and I walk off the court with that sad face. But there are a lot of gamers who basically didn't play some of the Xbox 360 biggest, that maybe some of these games aren't, the Shadow, the Crisis games, maybe they're not the AAA titles. Maybe you missed them. Maybe you're a person that missed Left 4 Dead. Oh shit, shame on you. Play it right now. Guess what? It's Xbox One enhanced. So the fact that it's available for everyone who may not have been an Xbox gamer in the OG Xbox days and the Xbox 360 days now is given the opportunity to pick up these games on eBay, at the mom and pop store, at the brick and mortar store for pennies, right? And they're getting achievements, they're playing online with their friends, and they're having a good time. So what's wrong with choices? Now, Dean, I want to go to you on this. They have literally been knocking it out of the park. About a month ago, there was some tweets from several, mainstream media folks that were like, we think that the backwards compatibility is coming to an end. It's been a slow crawl, and they haven't been making big announcements. Well, since then, I already announced those titles, and to add a few more to the list, you had the Metal Gear Solid HD collection, which is phenomenal. It has Metal Gear Solid 2 and Metal Gear Solid 3, two of the finer Metal Gear games. We're never going to get a new one, so play the old ones. What are your takes with what Microsoft is offering their fan base for free?
Honestly, anyone that ever says anything negative about the backwards compatibility feature on the Xbox, I just call BS. It doesn't make sense. There's nothing negative about it. It's just an amazing feature that anyone should want on their system, like the Switch or the PlayStation. Like, you should want this, even if it's not something for you. Like, there's going to be hundreds of thousands of people that are going to want the option to be able to just stick in the disc of one of their older games. Because other people would have to plug in their PlayStation 3 if they want to play a PlayStation 3 game that hasn't been re-released, that they had to re-buy on the PlayStation 4. Like, it doesn't make sense to not want the free feature that is just giving you more for your money. Like, and for people jumping the gun and assuming that the backwards compatibility thing was coming to an end just because there hasn't been any new games released for a while. Like, they've already said the amount of work that they have to put into each one of these. Like, they get people to play through the games while they get them on it to make sure it's working and that the frame rate is fine and all those issues. And certain games, like Red Dead, for example, when that came to backwards compatibility, like, someone had to play through that and test it and make sure it was working fine. And games like that are going to take a lot longer to do because they're so long, to get people to play through them, test them, and do all that stuff. So I just call BS on people that think that's negative. Like, there's so many great games. Like, you said it, over 600 games that you can play from the history of the 360, and a nice selection so far from the original Xbox. Like, you can play Jade Empire, you can play Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, you can play
Ninja Gaiden.
Yeah, you can play that. You can play the Mass Effect trilogy from the 360, which is something I highly recommend any gamer to play because it's just an amazing experience, and I still have it as one of the best games I've ever played and best stories. Like, there's just so many great games that came out over the years. Just because they're a little bit older and dated graphically and stuff like that doesn't mean they're bad games.
Yeah, I agree. Great points, dude. Fantastic points.
Like, I'm happy for the feature. I'm happy I don't have to plug in an Xbox 360 because I don't have one. Like, I have the option to just go to my ready to install and just click install on whatever 360 game that I used to have that is backwards compatible, or if I still have the disc, just pop it in. Like, when Brutal Legend, I think that only went backwards compatible like 2 months ago or something like that.
Fantastic title, dude. A lot of people don't know about that game.
Like, I have the still on disc. Like, I never got rid of it because I loved that game. Like, Jack Black in that was amazing.
Yes, he
The
was.
music, the action. Like, the second that went, I installed it and I played it for a few hours. Like, I even searched online and actually found someone. And I was like, wow, I wasn't expecting that. They didn't even turn off the servers for that game. Like, how weird.
Yeah.
I was just so happy. Like, I got hyped. Like, I got really hyped and excited for a game that someone would be like, oh, but it's old. And I was like, yeah, well, I was still hyped and I was still excited because I didn't have a 360 anymore. And I wasn't going to rebuy one just to play that one game at the moment when I don't have the money. So it was an awesome feature and I'm happy for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Big shout out to Pink Floyd in the chat. He brings up two backward compatible games, Dead Space and BioShock. Two fantastic Xbox 360 titles. Yeah, good. Good on you for bringing that up. You know what? Keeping on pace with services. Obviously, when you're doing an Xbox show, you're going to have to talk about games with gold. You're going to have to talk about Game Pass. So I'm going to start this next topic off with, of course, Xbox Game Pass. So the November titles for 2018 have been announced, and they're adding 5 new games. And I just want to go over the list, and there's something more at the end. Starting November 1st, which of course is today, Xbox Game Pass members can jump into Sniper Elite 4, Ali Ali 2 XL, Rise and Shone, or Shine, it's supposed to believe, I believe it is, Sheltered, and then on November 6th, which is going to be a day-and-date release. This is a new title. It was on the PC, but it's a new title. So it's releasing on Xbox, the Xbox Store, but it's going to be immediately put into Game Pass, which is Grip Combat Racing, which looks totally dope. If you like Wipeout, if you like F-Zero, then this is your kind of game. But you see, before we get into those games, right? I gotta bring up something now. This story I pulled from Xbox Wire, which if you're not subscribed, you know, if you don't check them on a regular basis, you should, because they have really good information and they're usually the first one to get this kind of stuff out. This is something else they had to add to it. It says, but you want more with a question mark. Tune in to Inside Xbox 2018 on November 10th. And brace yourself for an even more great games with an S coming to the Xbox Game Pass service. We think you're going to like them. So not only did we just get these 5 games, which we're going to break down in a second, but we know that the Xbox community and the people that are supporting this service are going to be treated to new games being added to the service that are going to be announced at XO18. First and foremost, Welsh, what are your take on the games? I understand they may not be for everyone, and I totally get it. But still, now here, and this is before I get to your answer, I want to just throw this out there. A lot of people don't know this. In the article, it says they have a list of over 100 games. Well, P.S. by the effing way, they have just surpassed 200 games in Game Pass for $10 a month. What are your takes on that and the 5 titles that were announced?
Well, the 5 titles that are announced, to be honest, not one of them really tickles my fancy. But
okay, I get it. That's okay.
But that's the thing. That's 5 titles out of what you just said, 200. So I know for a fact there's more than a few. Because as a subscriber to the service, I've got plenty of the games downloaded. Don't get me wrong, Sniper Elite 4, I'll most likely download that. I do like Sniper Elite. But no, man, I've been an advocate for this Game Pass for
yes, you have.
Since it was announced, and you know, I was having a back and forth conversation just a moment ago in the chat with the Almighty God, and he asked, "What does Xbox have that PlayStation doesn't?" And well, there's a few things, but one thing I can say for certain is it doesn't have Xbox Game Pass, the Netflix of gaming. You know, it's a phenomenal service, which I'll be honest, when they announced it and they pitched the idea to the public, I was a bit like, oh, okay, like 50-50, will it work, will it not? But I think it's taken once again, it's taken like a life of its own, and the games, there's more and more games all the time. And if you were to ask me what game do I think is coming next or whatever, all I could say is I don't even think I could guess at this point what could come next on Game Pass. All I can say for certain is, once again, if you're not a subscriber to the service already, you are doing yourself a disservice. It's one of the best things that Xbox offers. It's a phenomenal service. And Xbox Game Pass proves itself time and time again with all these titles being added. From backwards compatibility to multi-platform to first-party exclusives. And that's before you even consider the fact that obviously all the new first-party games are free day and date, with the most recent being Forza Horizon 4, which is a phenomenal game, by the way. Yeah. I think it's amazing. And the fact that when they announced this service, Boom, it was originally meant to be a 100-game service that recycles games. Like, after a few months, it would take a game away, replace it with a different one. But they must have just scrapped that idea and thought, why the hell bother? Like, just keep adding to the
Why
file.
Stop at 100?
I know, yeah, literally. They must have just scrapped that idea, and they didn't even think it was worth their time mentioning, because no one's going to complain for an extra 100 games to choose from for the low price of $7 a month. Man, anyone who can like poke fun at this service and be like, it's this, it's that, whatever. Well, if it's not your bag, it's not your bag. But even if you don't use the service until like first party games drop, you're still saving yourself a shitload of money.
Yeah.
And when a game does drop that you like, and it's like, oh, wicked, it's there, right there for you to just download and play. And there's 200 plus of them, and Inside Xbox are going to announce another bucket load at XO18. I mean, Christ, what more can you ask for as a consumer? Like, it's that Xbox time and time again proves itself to be the most consumer-friendly platform with the best infrastructure, best network. In my opinion, the better exclusives, the better online multiplayer, the better subscription services. It's just an all-around absolute juggernaut. And what a way to end a generation. I know we're coming close to the end of this generation, and we'll be transitioning into the next one. And I know it's a few years off, but still, it's coming quick, and it'll be here before you know it. Well, I just think the trajectory that Xbox are going at with all these services and everything Phil has done and accomplished since 2013, I'm just blown away. And I know all of that might seem a little over the top, passionate for the topic of Game Pass, but talking about Xbox Game Pass as a service and how it's taken a life of its own since it was announced, it's just one more candle on the birthday cake. Like, it's just,
I agree.
One more point added to the roster of points as to why Xbox is just a force to be reckoned with. And it's a phenomenal platform, and I can't wait to see what we have in store come the future, whether it's just some games announced inside Xbox for Game Pass, or Ninja Theory, a new game they're working on, or the Xbox Scarlet, or Xbox XCloud, or God knows what else. I just can't wait to see what's coming, man. I'm excited all the time for the future.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna say this: if you're not subscribed to Game Pass and it's a money thing, I hear you. I get it. $10 a month added to your Netflix and your Hulu's and your DC streaming service, which just launched, which by the way is amazing. OPS, by the way, and everything else that you already subscribe to. The $10 here, $7 here, $9 here. Before the end of the month, you got $100, and some people just don't have it. I get it. Be a savvy gamer like me. Wait for Black Friday. Get that 6-month Game Pass for $30, which is what I got during one of the holiday sales, and you'll be good to go. Dean, I want to go to you on this. Game Pass continues to impress. 200 plus games in a $10 Netflix style a month, service. I've been beating this drum. Welsh has been beating this drum. The 5 games they just added, okay, they're not everyone's bag. Probably 4 of them I probably won't put any time into. Like Sniper Elite 4, I think I beat that. So I already have it digitally, so that is no big deal to me. The racing game, on the other hand, I'm a big Wipeout fan. I'm a big F-Zero fan, so I will be playing that. That's a new title, day and date, when it comes out. What is your takeaway with Game Pass as a whole, and the fact that there are 200 plus games now?
I just think Game Pass is, like I said, with backwards compatibility, it's just another amazing feature, completely optional. I've been subscribed to the service since Sea of Thieves came out. That's when I subscribed. I got the game, State of Decay also, and I've just been very happy with the service. Like, even though there's plenty of games in it that I'm not going to play, there is a bunch of games that I will play. And there's always whenever Microsoft drops a game, it's going to be getting added day and date, and that's just an amazing thing. Like, that's something no one else is doing.
Right.
Like, and I just want to say, I think Game Pass has grown a lot this year, because I'm seeing more on it on Twitter, social media, more. Like, it seems like it's doing pretty well, and I think, like, I predict that next year it's just going to blow up, because we all know Microsoft, like, they didn't have a bad year, but they didn't have the best year, They don't have the best, like, a lot of games coming out at the end of the year or anything like that. But next year it's looking pretty strong with Crackdown, Gears of War 5, Ori and the Will of the Wisps, other games that we don't know about. Like, all of them are going to be getting at it day and date with Game Pass. And I feel like they're going to be releasing them at a better pace, like every second month or something like that. They might have a game of either AAA, the AA. They might, like, I predict they will have something. And it's just going to be constant news about, oh, this game is in Game Pass right now. And all the games that are coming out this year have sold extremely well, even though they were in Game Pass.
Yes. Good point, dude. Really good point.
Like, people stream a lot. People watch videos a lot. And there's going to be a lot more people that were thinking about getting a certain game. Now they have access to the game regardless, so they're more likely going to jump on it. Because of the hype from the reviews of the game, they're going to see people playing it, then they're going to play it, they might end up streaming it, and then it's just going to be more coverage for the game, which increases to more sales or more people subscribing to the service so they can play it. And next year, I just feel like Microsoft are going to have a lot more games coming out next year, and it's just really going to help push Game Pass because of the day and date release of the service, and there's going to be more headlines about it. Because even now, I'm seeing the press, like other media sites, actually say Game Pass is good. They don't highlight it enough, but I never see them really dissing on it as much anymore.
Right.
And I feel like next year, like, there's going to be no way for them to say anything negative about it, because there's going to be so many big games with Crackdown coming out in it. Like, I feel like that game has had the development time it needed, and it is gonna more likely like just shock everyone with how good the multiplayer is gonna look and the destruction. Even if they don't get it fully destructible, even though I'm pretty sure it's been confirmed that that's still in it. But yeah,
Yeah. No, I mean, listen, you make hello?
hello.
Yes. Okay. Sorry about that. Yeah, I thought I was on mute for some reason. Well, listen, Dean, you're making a lot of sense. And you know, again, I understand if it's a money thing. You know, listen, not everyone. Gaming's an expensive hobby. I keep, you know, I don't think I'm like a genius for saying that. It's expensive, especially if you're a multi-console owner. And I think that is where the big value comes in for Game Pass. I think that you take a guy like me, for instance. You know, I'm retired, and even though that sounds great on paper, I used to be a big overtime guy. And you know, when I wanted something, people used to make fun of me at the precinct. Like, you know, other guys were making, you know, doing overtime because they were going on vacation or they wanted a new motorcycle. And they used to be like, "Hey, Boom, what are you doing overtime for?" Games. I'm working for games. And that's what I did. Everyone made fun of me. But you know what? It's okay because I had the last laugh. I had everything. But, you know, now I kind of got to be a little bit more strategic. I don't buy as many single A and double A games as I used to. And Game Pass helps me because obviously it's 6501 that I don't have to spend, especially if it's a Microsoft first party. So I'm definitely into that. But you know what? I want to talk about games with gold. And those 4 titles were announced. Now, again, they're not the biggest titles. They're certainly not the worst titles. I think this is a solid month. It's not the best month since sliced bread, but it's a big month, I think. And I want to get your take on it. Battlefield 1 for the Xbox One. That's a big title. That's a fantastic game. If you haven't played it, you definitely got to download it. Race to Sun. Just a small indie title. I played it on the PlayStation 4. I actually enjoyed the game. It's an indie title. And you're doing that. You're racing the sun. That's what you're doing. As for the backwards compatibility additions in the form of 360 games, you're getting the original Assassin's Creed. And you know what? That's not a bad one. The game's a little dated. But you know what? If you never played the original, you can see how it starts. I think that is interesting. And Dante's Inferno. Let me tell you something. That play that game. If you like the God of War slash and hack kind of a games where you're fighting monster bosses, give this a shot. This is made by the same people that did Dead Space, Visceral Games, which no longer exists. Oh, by the way, so I say give that one a shot. Welsh, what are your takeaways on the 4 titles being offered for free for the month of November?
Battlefield 1 is a phenomenal game. I already own it, but anyone who hasn't played Battlefield 1, you need to grab it. It's arguably one of the best World War, well, generally military online multiplayer shooters around. It's phenomenal.
Graphically, it's insane.
Oh, graphically, man, it's absolutely fantastic. And if you're toying with the idea of getting Battlefield 5, but you're not sure whether to put the money down, I'd say Battlefield 1 is a great demo because
pretty much good point.
It's not, you know, they're pretty similar in design and gameplay with a few differences. Race to the Sun, not familiar with it. Assassin's Creed, I can't wait for that. That is one of my favorite games of last generation. Boom.
Nice.
The original Assassin's Creed is phenomenal, and what I would love to see is maybe like an enhancement for the X or something.
That would be great, dude. Yeah.
Dante Inferno, I've heard good things, and you just sang its praise as well. So I mean, I'll give that a try, no doubt, 100%. I'll at least download it. I pretty much download at least 1 or 2 titles every month, just in case I have a fancy picking it up. But my opinion hasn't changed, though, Boom. You know what I'm about to say. Yes, some months you wouldn't wipe your ass with these titles, but but bottom line, it's 4 free games a month. How can anyone really complain? I'm not trying to sound like a broken record here, but if you want excellent games all year round, you know, for next to nothing in terms of price, subscribe to Xbox Game Pass. It's a no-brainer. Then games with gold won't be so much of a kick in the nuts when it's a shit month. It's more of a perk. That's just how I see it. But even if you're not subscribed to Game Pass, games with gold, people should just enjoy it because you know for a fact that out of the 12 months of the year, at least 5 or 6 of those months, you're going to get some really good games.
Yes.
For free. I think the key word here people need to remember is free, because I do get the impression, and this is good, and this is, people are probably going to unsubscribe from me, but I'm talking about the Xbox community, obviously, because it's games with gold. It's for the Xbox people who play on Xbox. I find that sometimes people can be very entitled, and I'm not going to name names, but I see the odd tweet or the odd picture I'm just like, guys, if you are paying for this, I'd understand why you're complaining, but it's free. Swallow your pride, man.
Yeah, it's just part of the $60 you pay. If you're an online player, you need to pay the $60, right? That's just the way the generation has gone.
Yeah.
It's been like that since the beginning of the Xbox itself. And you know what? You pay, and they added this service, and you know what? Good on Sony that they were giving away free stuff, because of Sony, we have games with gold. So big shout out to them for that, because they give away their 4 games. Actually, it's usually a little bit more, because they give some VR and some PlayStation Vita stuff away. I'm right there with you, dude. Don't be entitled. If they're not for you, guess what? They're not for you. I hear you. Listen, I want to go on to you, Dean. The 4 titles, again, they may not be the benchmark on some people's lists, but I think that they're fairly impressive. One of which is, it's an indie title, and the other 3, they're high-profile games. What are your takeaways from what they're giving away for the month of November?
I think it's a pretty solid month. Like, I already have Battlefield 1 from EA Access, and I have the other games also, but I don't like that. It's like, all right, I don't have that, but I can still look at it for like what the quality of the games are, and are people going to enjoy them because I played them. And I just want to jump on and say Dante's Inferno is such an amazing game, and I highly recommend everyone to download it and give it a go.
Yes,
because it's just so good. Like, it's a really good game.
Underrated game. It really flew out of like under the radar. People just didn't even give it a pass. If you're a fan of God of War, I implore you, please try this title. It is graphic violence at its finest.
Also, if you're into animated movies, it does have an animated movie that I think is worth checking out, just for on the side, just to let you know if you aren't aware about it. Also, with Battlefield 1, I haven't played the single player, but I did play a good bit of the multiplayer. And I don't know if the premium pass is still free.
It ended yesterday. The premium pass was yesterday. Yeah, it was that's $50 if you had to buy it. It was free.
They made the DLC for Battlefield 1 free so many times. Like, so many times. I can only imagine that it's going to be free again at some point, because like, so many times the map packs separately have gone free for no reason, just because you're like, oh, it's going to be free from this date until that date, download it now. Like, I don't like, who bought it? Like, it's been free so many times at this point. I highly suggest waiting, because I guarantee it will be free again at some point. Battlefield 1, though, like I said, the multiplayer, I had a really good time playing it. I did play the Battlefield 5 beta, and I have to say, I wasn't as impressed with it, and I actually preferred Battlefield 1. But that was the beta. That was like a month and a half ago, so Battlefield 5 could have changed. But Battlefield 1 is a perfect game to just jump in. 64 players online in the big Conquest mode.
Yeah, I love Conquest. It's awesome.
You're going to have great fun. It's a perfect game to play with 3 other friends, because Battlefield is best experience when you have a full squad.
Yep.
Using your mics. So I'm playing the medic, reviving people. That's what I do. Like, there's solid games. Assassin's Creed, it hasn't aged extremely well for me personally. Not to do, like, the graphics and everything like that is fine. It's just like the missions, the way they are. Like, I don't think I'd be able to do some of the stealth missions and repetitive missions like that in the original Assassin's Creed game, especially the first one. Like, I wouldn't have the patience to just follow people constantly, and just, if you get caught, it's over type thing. Like, I think the series has evolved so much since then.
It has, yeah.
So if you are interested in the story, it is a free thing to jump back in, especially with how popular Assassin's Creed has become again. So if you want to see where the game first began with the first in the series, it's worth checking out. So that's what I was saying, those 3. What was the other one?
No, that was it, brother. Oh, the four titles were Battlefield 1, Race the Sun, Assassin's Creed,
Sorry, I
and
haven't
Dante's
played that
Inferno.
one.
Yeah, so, Race the Sun is like I said, it's a small indie title. It's worth getting your gamer score on for it. That's what I say. If you want some extra gamer score, play that. Not the best title in the bunch, but certainly they've been worse. But you know what? Let's move on to the last topic of the show because I know we're kind of running a little behind here. Microsoft is researching and prototyping Xbox controllers for the phones and tablets, and considering how they're already handling the peripherals on the Xbox platform, this really shouldn't surprise anyone. I pulled this story from Windows Central and was written by a very good friend of the show, Jez Corden. Follow that dude on Twitter. He is a good journalist. He is legit. So here's the thing. Project XCloud, oh my God, XCloud, it will be here before you know it. And this is going to open the door for Microsoft to put games on your Xbox onto tablets and phones. And there have been rumors and even some pictures that they're developing a Switch-type controller that locks on to the either side of your tablet, or they have like a phone contraption where you can, like a peripheral you can buy to put your phone in, or even a controller that has a flip out screen. I'm super, super stoked for this. This is going to give people the ability, and it makes you wonder why, because remember, people broke their balls for years. Oh, how come that Microsoft isn't getting in the handheld game? They're missing out. The Vita, the 3DS, right? Well, they might have been working on this for years, and now it's going to come to fruition that technically the Xbox One is going to be a portable system in the form of the xCloud. Now, I'm going to say this. If anyone could bring quality controls to the xCloud platform, it will definitely be Microsoft. Their business plans for this moving forward are much bigger than most gamers are expecting, and getting the controller right is probably at the forefront of this. Welsh, when I sent you this story, I'm not sure if it raised an eyebrow, but if anyone could pull off quality controllers, it's Microsoft. Case in point, the Xbox One Elite controller, and of course, the Xbox One controller in itself. Regardless of what color shade you have, and they have about 70 of them out, they know how to make peripherals, and the Project XCloud is going to be a big deal. What are your takeaways that they're working on devices to use on XCloud?
I call this the Nintendo Switch effect.
Yes,
because
smart.
I often thought to myself, and I'll say it right now, that the Nintendo Switch is a phenomenal idea. And I remember when it was first, like, the concepts and the release and the pictures were released, and even having played one myself, I've often thought, like, this is probably going to be the future, like the ability to, like, transition and stuff like that. And I mean, as of late, there's been concepts of the PlayStation 5, which has a very similar, like, Nintendo Switch sort of like module where you can take it away with you and stuff like that. Now, Xbox, it's become abundantly clear that that's not what they're going for. The actual Nintendo Switch, like, it slots in and it's on your telly and you pull it out and blah, blah, blah. But what they're doing is, let's be honest, this is the answer to true mobile gaming.
I agree.
This isn't, you're not constrained, you're not like limited to any one or two devices. Like, when you think of the Nintendo Switch, and this is not a slight, I just sang its praises, but you are either limited to your dock if you're playing it via, like, console, or if you do go mobily, you take it away with you, you've only got the one size screen. So if you're an individual now on the Xbox side of things, you want to play it on your iPad, you want to play it on your Surface tablet, I should say, because that's, Apple and Microsoft don't get on, people, wink, wink. But yeah, like Surface tablet, or if you want to play it on your phone, or, like, the fact that they're going to be doing it along this way, like I've said this for ages, if this does happen and is pulled off to perfection, then Xbox will be truly cementing its original goal of play anywhere, and it'll finally silence the people who are stuck in yesterday. Bottom line, It's the people who the true exclusive narrative versus the Xbox ecosystem narrative. I'm of the people who have been for the Xbox ecosystem narrative, the play anywhere goal,
about that.
All games under the Xbox umbrella, and this is just another case in point. Like, people thought, like, oh, if a game goes to PC, it's not true exclusive. Those are the people that are living in yesterday, because end of the day, it's Xbox. Like, it's Xbox under the Xbox umbrella, and now Xbox is going to be going wherever you are. It wouldn't even surprise me if people on Android and Apple phones will be able to sign into their Xbox accounts, plug in these like peripherals that they're going to be making, which are probably going to be adaptable to, like, certain, because obviously all tablets and phones are different shapes and sizes.
Yes.
And in answering your ultimate question here, can they do it? Yes. If there was any company in the gaming space that could pull this off, a peripheral that is adaptable to the different size tablets and phones, Xbox are going to do it, man. And I'm telling you, this is just another link in their chain of success when it comes to this play anywhere narrative. I'm totally behind it. I'm excited to see the XCloud in full effect, and it's nice to see, because as an Xbox fan, it's nice to know that if EGX 2019 or 2020, when I'm on the train to Gloucester to meet up with my pal Microbox of X, the whole way to the bloody Gloucester, I could just be on my phone playing.
Could you imagine playing Gears 5? I mean, that's just crazy.
To me, I could be playing Gears 5 story, play on my console until it's like, oh shit, I got to be at the train station in 20 minutes. Turn off my Xbox, put my phone and my peripheral in my pocket. The second I'm sitting on the train and I know I've got 2-hour journey before I meet up with Microbox of X, pull out my phone, click in the handset, continue where I left off. Play anywhere, baby. This is what the Xbox initiative, play anywhere. This is what Xbox, the precedent, the milestone, the unprecedented achievement that, Microsoft and Xbox have been trying to aim for all this time. People have been living in yesterday, saying that they're losing their exclusives, they're this, they're that, they're doing. I've heard it all, but they are setting a new precedent, and they are paving the way for the future of console gaming. And this is an amazing thing. I can't wait to see true handheld, true mobile gaming the way you want it as an individual. Do you want to play on your tablet? Do you want to play on your laptop? Do you want to play on your phone? Like, you will have the option. It's literally in your hands. It's phenomenal.
Well, listen, I'm going to say real quick, because I want to get Dean's point on this. If you remember at the beginning of the generation, Microsoft, well, not so much the beginning, somewhere in the middle, they teamed up with Samsung. Do not be surprised if they do not make a deal to have a tablet come with this controller that's going to give you the ability to play your xCloud anywhere. Do not be surprised by this. Remember, I said it first. This story has not been broken by anyone. I'm breaking it now. Lock it in. Boom said it. Samsung, Xbox team up, and their new controller is going to come with the tablet. But Dean, I want to get your take on this. I said some things. Welsh said some incredible points, and I have to agree. I think if anyone could pull it off, it's Microsoft. They are the masters of peripheral making. Obviously, case in point, the ridiculous amount of controllers that are available. Whether you like them, you love them, or you're tired of them, they're there. They're really good controllers. Could they pull this off? And what are your expectations for these controllers?
Well, what I expect is high quality, and that's something that I believe Microsoft will completely deliver on, because everything they've done has been quality, other than like the first one really of the Xbox 360, where they kind of rushed it, and we all know about the red ring. But other than that, like the Xbox One, it was a solid system. It was a little bit big, but overall it was quiet, and it did its job. And I still have mine, so I can say it's been over 5 years, and it's like there's literally nothing wrong with it for me personally. So, everything that I've gotten from them other than like the first wave of 360, has been a product high quality. Same with the controllers; they lasted extremely long amount of time, and whenever they do break, it's to my own fault from being silly and dropping them multiple times. So there's only so many times something can drop before it breaks.
No, you're right. You're right. Yes.
But like I expect them to do like a high quality job with this. Take their time. Microsoft are investing this year, so it seems they have money to burn. Like they are one of the biggest companies in the world. They got a shit ton of money, and if they have a goal that they want to do, they are going to see it through. And then they'll probably cancel. They'll probably cancel it if it doesn't work out in the first few months. Who knows? No, but yeah, like they're gonna stick with it. The play anywhere agenda, like the thing that they've been going for the last few years. Like some people are like, "What's the point of this? It's slow." Like things don't happen overnight. It's a process, and this is something that's been building. Like they already have it with the Xbox and PC with the buy anywhere, play anywhere. You buy it for the Xbox, you get it on both PC. You like it works with the Microsoft games, you know,
Yes.
CPs, Halo
Very
War,
important.
and like stuff like that is amazing. Like the thing that is the most, like if I was to say something describe Microsoft in one word in 2018, it is choice, because that's
Yes.
the thing they are doing 100%. Like you have a choice for everything. Like with the controllers, like they made on the top of my head, I just can't remember what's the controller that they brought out.
Oh, the adaptive controller.
Yeah, like they did that.
That is
Like,
an
that was
amazing piece of tech. Good on them for that. I'm so proud of them.
another choice. It
Yes.
goes with the Xbox Play Anywhere. You buy it, you can choose if you want to play on the PC or the Xbox. Game Pass. Do you want to subscribe to this service for this lowly amount of money, like €10 a month, and you can get access to over 100 games? Oh, you don't like air controllers? Do you want to design your own? Here's a website. Go design your controller with these. Like the word choice is what I think of Microsoft in 2018. And I feel like whenever this comes out, it'll probably be limited. The controllers will be, but I feel like it's going to be something they'll expand on, and choice will come into it once again. Different colors, stuff like that. Like the future is like, as we see with the Switch selling extremely well.
Yes.
Like outsold their Wii U sales in like probably like a few months. Like it's on 20 million.
It's ridiculous. Yeah, embarrassing
like,
for Nintendo.
yeah, like the Switch is doing extremely well. A lot of people play it like either the console mode or Switch, or like they do both. Some people probably just prefer portable because they travel a lot. Like having that option is fantastic. And I feel like when Microsoft do this, like I'm gonna be subscribed to it if you have to, or whatever, because I feel like playing high quality games, especially the exclusive games like Halo, the let's say Witcher, Gears of War, like even the backwards compatibility games, I assume they will be working too. And like being able to play Alan Wake again anywhere, like just being able to play games anywhere when you're traveling, like it's just
it's crazy. The possibilities are literally limitless, and I'm stoked for what they're going to do with the XCloud, and of course this the choices of what tablet you want to play on. You have this tablet, okay, just click on the controllers and go. I think that's amazing. But you know what? We've passed the 90-minute mark. But I have to say something. I'm very new to YouTube. I make officially 1 year on Saturday, which I will be putting out my first video. I'm going to be tweeting it. It's horrendous. It's embarrassing. It sounds horrendous. I don't even have a thumbnail. But you know what? I never changed it because I like keeping it there for perspective. It shows me that I've grown as an entertainer, and that's thanks to this community. And speaking of community, today I added a PayPal me link to my YouTube channel, and I did that not because I'm looking to make money. I did that because several people in the community who wish to remain nameless, they wanted to donate to not only the show but the charity that my wife and I were donating to. If you're unfamiliar, my wife and I pledged that all earnings, not just Super Chat, all earnings for the month of October which included a total of 9 shows. 50% of that was going to be donated to a breast cancer awareness charity called Making Strides. If you've seen it in the chat, UK Dazzers, once again, thank you for your help on that. I did that today. Now, again, I'm not a very tech savvy person, but I'm a bit of a boob. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm actually surprised people actually listen to me, because I am passionate. I do put a lot of work in. I love talking about games. I love this community. But I just got an email, and someone who, again, I know who it is, but I'm not going to say because he or she asked me to remain anonymous, and they just donated $125. Like, that is absolutely, it took my breath away. Like, I had to take off my glasses to read the small print to make sure what I was seeing. That is an incredible gift. And 50% of that incredible gift is going to be donated to charity. I said it yesterday on Gaming News at Noon with Salty and Boom that because I'm a very transparent kind of a person, I felt it necessary to, once YouTube crunches their numbers, they take their 38% because they do take a lot, and I'm left whatever that number is. I'm going to take a picture of my AdSense account. Of course, I'm going to block out the numbers to my account number because, obviously it's my account number. But I want to be transparent with the community to say, listen, whatever the end amount is, 50% of that is being donated. And then once I have the receipt from the organization, I will be taking a picture of that and posting it on Twitter as well. Because like I said, I'm transparent. I'm real. And I know there are a lot of scams. I'm certainly not one of them. And I think I've proven myself to the community, but I felt it necessary to do that. And there's one other quick thing, and I constantly get yelled at by Mooch, and he has a loud voice, so don't get yelled at by Mooch. Hit the like button. If you enjoyed today's show, and I think today's show kicked absolute ass from start to finish, please hit the like button. It does help this channel grow. When potential partners want to team up with this the Arcade 1-Up guys. They're the first sponsor I have. They saw the likes. They saw that I have a lot of older gamers, and all of that information that they had access to was because of all the likes and the comments that people leave. So if you enjoyed the show, please hit the like button. Share this with your friends. Retweet it out there. I do greatly appreciate that. But of course, I want to get to the outros. And this show is a passion project of mine, being an Xbox guy. And I say this every time, and I'm going to say it again. God damn it! The Welsh Gamer is my brother, and he has become someone as important to me as people that I actually know. We've seen each other, we've spoken live, but I've never met the man. But I do have a great deal of respect and affection for him as a person. He undertook a big, risk jumping onto this show, because you never know how these shows are going to turn out. And his dedication to this show has been nothing short of amazing. Welsh, listen, dude, I think that you're a main cog, dude. You're a co-host here. This is a 50-50 passion project for both of us, but I couldn't do it without you. And I think that you need to up your views on your channel. And I also think people need to follow you on Twitter. Tell everyone where they could do that, bro.
No, I appreciate it, Boom, and everything you just said. Like, the feeling is absolutely mutual. Like, I love doing this, and it wouldn't be right if we didn't do it, man. I mean, when you started, when you pitched me the idea, it was all it was up in the air. It was all chance. But after however many weeks of doing it, I think we've cemented a nice position on Thursday mornings over in the US. It's phenomenal. I'm really happy to be doing this, and people who want to follow me on Twitter at the Welsh Gamer 93, one word. My channel, the Welsh Gamer, 3 words, for YouTube. Content has been very light lately. To say I've been busy is an understatement. I have not been able. I haven't been to the gym in like 4 weeks. I haven't. I don't even know what the sun looks like anymore. I'm pale as mayonnaise. I literally, I've been a hermit for about a solid month now. Red Dead 2 hasn't helped because it's so good. I don't want to leave. Oh, God damn it. But no, yeah, I promise I will be doing more content. The Dragon X podcast will be back next Thursday, 7 p.m. GMT, because we're now GMT. But yeah, cracking show, Boom. Excellent show. Thank you very much, Dean, Creating Beyond Limits, for joining us. It was great to have you. Your points were phenomenal. And yeah, take it away, Boom. Thank you very much for having me.
My pleasure, dude. Listen, let me tell you something. I love Breakfast with Boom. I really enjoy the new show that I launched with Salty. But being an Xbox guy first, I really, really look forward to this show because of the passion that we both have and the people in the community. And we had 105 people watching live. That is a big deal. That is a huge deal for this show and for me personally. So thank you for that. But Dean, listen, dude, you haven't been doing a lot of videos. And we know why. You and your fiance, you did something real special this year, and you got approved for a home, and that's a big deal. That's a big congratulations to you and your fiance. But you did some other big things. You crossed 1,000 subs, and this community, when I reached out to them and said, please, for the love of Jehovah, give this guy a sub, they responded in a big way. And you know what? That's all thanks to you. That's not thanks to me. Your content is dope. You know what? It's not a gaming channel. It's not a movie channel. It's not a baby metal channel. It's a shake and bake bag channel where there may be something that you don't dig, but there are 3 other things that you do. And I think that what you do is important to the community. You're an honest guy. I think you're one of the finer people on Twitter. And I really want you to have as much success as the Welsh Gamer and I have had. So please tell everyone where they can find you and where they should sub to you. And of course, follow you on Twitter.
YouTube is Creating Beyond Limits. There's a link in the description. And I just really want to say thanks to Boom for having us on. It's always just an amazing experience. And I just get to talk games, which I love. And talking with these people, it's just amazing. Like you said, I haven't been able to do as many videos because I'm going through a whole process of packing stuff. But I do plan to have at least 1 video still going up while I'm doing all that every week. But when I do get set up in the new house, content should start to come back regularly, and I'll be able to do more gaming stuff because I do plan to have a better setup than I do now. Right now, with the Xbox being all the way downstairs in a different room, doing all the game capture stuff isn't really, I'm not able to because you need a capture card to be attached to the computer and the Xbox. So I'm only being able to get game clips and stuff like that from the Xbox itself, sharing it and stuff. But yeah, lots of stuff I want to do in 2019. I want to do more gaming related stuff on top of the other stuff that I do. I just like doing content that I like to watch myself, and I hope others enjoy the content that I bring out. So thanks for having us on, Boom.
Oh, listen, it was a pleasure, and big shout out to Vogels Creek, who said this is one of the best shows so far, and that's thank you for that. I'm gonna walk away from today's show feeling really satisfied because like I said, a lot of work behind the scenes goes in here. Welsh will tell you, and I start Sunday evening, and I usually stay up to 2:00 in the morning. I do 4 hours Sunday night trying to troll through 40 or 50 different articles. Because you know what I respect your time. You show up to my show and to my channel to listen to me. We'll talk about anything. I respect you personally. And I think Dean and the Welsh Gamer feel the same way. We appreciate all of the thumbs ups that we get. And we all respect your time because you know what? You could be listening to someone else, but you're not. And you came to today's show. And that was awesome. So listen, once again, thank you to the chat. You played nice. I really appreciate that. I love that. It's a safe space. I've been told by numerous people that my chat is one of the better ones. There's no toxic shenanigans in there. And I really, really appreciate that. Of course, thank you to my my co-host and, of course, the awesome guest. And we will see you next Thursday on the hottest and newest episode. And real quick, a little bit of a program change. Next week, I'm looking to have 2 special guests on, and it's going to be 90 minutes of complete fire, where it's going to be our XO18 prediction show. And I'm hoping that these two guests come through, one of which I don't want to shout him out because he let me know, but it's going to be a big get for the show. So I'll see you, the Welsh. We will see you next Thursday morning on the next episode of the Xbox Factor podcast. Have an awesome day, everyone. Be safe and be nice with one another. Take care, everyone.
Bye-bye.
See ya.